Yeah, you do. I mean, you've always had a temper. Like, I might have in the past, I don't now. Please don't speak to me that way. It doesn't help me.
Welcome to a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, where we reveal the unconventional wisdom of Alex Hormozi. In this video, we dive into 5 transformative topics that challenge our traditional holiday norms and offer a new perspective on personal growth and well-being. We'll explore Hormozi's intriguing advice on why staying away from home during the holidays might actually be more beneficial than we think. We will delve into the often overlooked importance of rest and self-care during the holiday season. We will learn how the spaces and people around us can greatly influence our lives, for better or worse, and how we can actively curate our surroundings for optimal growth and happiness. We'll also address the vital role of honesty and transparency in our vacation conversations, and why honest communication about our vacation plans and expectations is critical to maintaining authentic relationships and inner peace. Finally, we will examine how embracing solitude can be a powerful catalyst for achieving personal goals and advancing our journey of self-improvement. This segment will reveal the hidden strength in solitude and how it can be a key to unlocking our full potential.
I don't go home for the holidays, and that surprises a lot of people. And I don't do it because I don't like what going back home does for me. And that's not just family, that's friends, environments, places I go to, people I speak with, anything. For me, I left home because I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to change my environment, and I wanted to start clean and move in the direction of the person that I wanted to be. I think the main reason that I want to make this video is because there's probably a younger version of me out there that is terrified of the idea of not listening to their parents and going home for the holidays. Listen, if you love your family and it's like the highlight of the year, then fucking go. If I'm talking to young Mosey, the biggest fear that I had was what people would think about me if I didn't go out with them when I was back home. Because it's like, well, I'm back home for a week. They're like, yo, you're back home, let's whatever. And I would feel obligated because I'm back home and I'm only back home a couple times a year. But the reason that I haven't been in touch with that person when I'm not back home is because they try and meet me in my past and treat me in a way that I used to accept them treating me. As I've grown, in their word, changed, I no longer accept that type of behavior. And it's not just the things they say, it's how they say it. And a lot of times, like, it's not super direct. A lot of times it's indirect, especially if it's people who like you. This is why it's so tough.
Alex Hormozi brings to light a personal decision that many may find disconcerting: the choice not to return home for the holidays. But behind this decision is a deeper understanding of personal growth and personal boundaries. Hormozi explains his choice by highlighting a critical aspect of personal development: the influence of our environment. He points out that returning to a familiar environment, especially linked to our past, can sometimes trigger a regression to old habits and mentalities. This isn't just about nostalgia. It's about the subtle pressures our previous environment puts on us, pushing us to return to our past selves. This topic has deep resonance, especially among young people facing social and family expectations. The pressure of holiday traditions can often lead to fear of judgment or disappointment. Hormozi's perspective validates the feelings of those who struggle with this dilemma. He emphasizes the importance of being in environments that promote our current values and aspirations, not those that shackle us to who we once were. But now let's move on to practice. How do we use this understanding in our lives? First, by recognizing the power of our environments and the people who live in them. Being aware of how these factors affect us is essential. Second, learning to set healthy boundaries. This might mean making difficult decisions, such as not going home for the holidays, prioritizing our growth, and ultimately understanding that our choices, especially those related to personal growth and mental health, are valid, even if they go against the grain.
To get up and help you with this thing, simply ask me, hey Alex, are you busy right now? And I might say yes or no. If I'm not, you might say, would you mind helping me with these things? And I might say, Of course, happy to help. But if you say, get over here, I'm never gonna respond to that. And you repeating it louder in no way makes it more likely that I'll respond. A lot of times it's these little things like this, it's these micro exchanges, because it's rare that someone's like, you are not happy, Alex. They don't really do that, not often. Sometimes they do. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. It's like, you have such a short temper, right? I'll get that one when I go back home. Anybody who knows me now probably would not describe me that way. And here's a key point. What most people want to say, even if they have the balls to step up, and kudos for even stepping up. If you say, hey, you know what, please don't say that, I'm really working on it, that's a great half step in the direction. But believe it or not, it actually makes no progress. Here's why. If you say I'm working on it, you're still accepting their frame that you are that way. If you want to be a different person, then you need to behave a different way, which means that if you want to step into that identity of the person who doesn't struggle with drinking or doesn't struggle with their temper, then imagine what that person would say in response. So if you don't struggle with drinking and you have no temper and someone says, hey, Alex, you know how you have a temper? I would say, no, I don't. I don't know. Yeah, you do. You've always had a temper. I'm like, I might have in the past. I don't now. Please don't speak to me that way. It doesn't help me. Unless you prefer that I be angry. Whoa, you're getting angry? No, I'm stating facts. I'm asking you a question. Would you prefer that I be angry? No. Well, then don't tell me that. Are you here to help me? Or are you here to get me to behave the way you want me to? It's very tough for people to see people change. Because oftentimes when we change, our world grow, we remind them of the changes they've been incapable of making. We remind them of their own deficiencies, of their own failures, of the comfort zones that they had been unwilling to step out of, that we were willing to take the risk for.
In a world where the lines between personal space and social obligations are often blurred, in this segment, we focus on a crucial skill, communicating boundaries. His insights offer us a model for building stronger, more authentic relationships, where our boundaries are respected and our well-being is prioritized. Alex emphasizes the value of open and honest communication. He suggests that being clear about our boundaries and expectations isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It's about promoting healthier, more respectful relationships. Whether it's declining an invitation or expressing our needs, Hormozi advises us to respond truthfully and tactfully. This approach not only preserves our well-being, but also respects the dynamics of our relationships. But why is this method important? In today's fast-paced world, where social and family expectations often take precedence, setting boundaries becomes vital to our mental and emotional health. Hormozi's advice resonates with many who struggle to balance their own needs with the expectations of others, especially during the emotionally charged holiday season. By communicating our boundaries, we not only honor our own well-being, but we also teach others how to treat us with the respect we deserve. How can we implement Hormozi's teachings into our lives? He starts by reflecting on your comfort levels and limitations. When faced with invitations or requests, respond honestly. If an event or meeting doesn't align with your needs or values, it's okay to say no. Additionally, he emphasizes the importance of rest and self-care, especially during busy times like holidays. Remember, setting boundaries is not selfish. It is a necessary practice to maintain well-being and cultivate meaningful connections.
And if they throw a tantrum, that is on them. They may miss you, and the thing is that there are elements that you may miss too. The question is just whether it's worth the trade-off. Here's an easy way to think about this. When you go home, there are positives. There are some things that are positive. There are also things that are negative. They exist separately. It's the reason that people get into abusive relationships. They have lots of positive and they also have lots of negative. And so when they break up with the quote abusive person or the person that they have some chemically, crazy dynamic with, they feel like they miss the person because reward does not decrease over time, but your reminder of punishment does. So let me give you a tactical example of this. Have you ever finished a night of drinking and the next morning you say, I'm never gonna drink again? Probably. But then what do you do the next weekend? You drink. Why? Because punishment decreases in its effectiveness over time. You quickly forget and then you do it again. Reward is actually different than that, which is why when you think about a relationship 10 years in the past, you think about all the sweet memories because all of the punishment associated with the relationship disappears. But then you get back in the relationship and you're like, holy cow, I forgot all this crap. And so what happens is we spend a long time away from our families and we remember all the good, we forget all the bad. But then we get back home and we're reminded of all the negative things and why we left to begin with. I try to actively cue myself and remind myself of the many reasons that I chose to leave. center point of that is because I didn't think it would help me become the person I wanted to become. Especially, this is for young Mosey, if you're in a season right now of trying to become a new man or a new woman, and you're trying to flex your muscles of being on time, of being consistent, of maybe not drinking too much, of staying in the rhythm that you're in, right? You've got this little work grind that's going, you've had a good streak, you're like being productive, you're making progress. Don't break it. It's not worth the trade-off. How does you drinking Aunt so-and-so's eggnog and having a couple of pictures and having some weird comments from your uncle that you don't talk to that much and getting some political argument that doesn't matter anyways, how does that make you better? The only reason you go back is because you're afraid of what people will say. Imagine, play it out. You've got the whole family there and not you. Version A, they just forget that you're not there and they keep living their lives, in which case, kudos, it's fine. On the other hand, the entirety of the room shit talks you the whole time you're there. Are you really sad you're missing it? You choosing not to go has no downside in terms of if they have a negative experience or you have negative experiences being there and if they treat you negatively. And so we have all these positive memories because it's impossible to live an entire life without positive memories, right? You just also have negative ones. And the question is the upside worth the downside? And so for me, especially as I was coming up through this, I noticed that I would get tons of anxiety going into the holidays. I would dread certain occasions. I would dread certain traditions that would happen. And I hated all of it.
Now we focus on a crucial aspect that is often overlooked: the environments in which we live. Alex underlines the importance of carefully taking care of the environments in which we immerse ourselves. He draws a parallel between successful individuals and their meticulous standards for the company they keep and the spaces they occupy. According to Hormozi, it is not just a question of who we are, but where we are and who we are with. The people, environment, and culture around us can nourish our ambitions or stimulate them. Why is this concept so vital? Hormozi's point of view resonates with a fundamental truth. We are, to a large extent, products of our environment. The spaces we frequent and the environments in which we move can significantly influence our mentality, our habits, and ultimately, successful people are not born by chance. They are often created by the environments in which they choose to find themselves, environments that they consistently align themselves with their goals and aspirations. Moving on to practice, how can we implement this in our lives? Start with a conscious choice. Evaluate your current environment. The people, the places, the culture. Are they supportive of your growth? If not, it's time to make changes. Seek out spaces and communities that uplift and inspire you. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to be better, who share your aspirations, and who support your journey to success. Remember, healing your environment is an active process, requiring discernment, intentional, and, at times, courageous enough to step outside of your comfort zone.
Also, one of the things that I think is underrated is leisure time. Just because you are home and you don't have something scheduled doesn't mean everyone has free access to your time. If you want to stay in and watch a movie because you're on holiday break, and it's one of the few times that you just do that, even if it's just you and not even with your family, then if someone says, hey, let's go out, and you say, no, I'm good, and they say, what, what are you busy tonight, or what, do you have plans? Or if they start with, hey, do you have plans, and you say no, and they say you want to go out, you can also, right after they say that, say no. Because rest is productive if it nets you a gain in how much you can do. If you rest well during the holidays and you're more productive after the holidays, that's a good thing. If you feel like you have to recover from your holidays, then you don't even get the main benefit of holidays. If we think about how we curate our environment, the wealthier the people that I meet, the more contained and pristine their environments are. They don't allow people who are detracting from the people they want to be and the behaviors they want to do in. And so think about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs. Think about the teams of people that they have around them. Do you think you can be an idiot and be in Elon Musk's presence? Do you think you can be a drunkard and be in Bezos' presence? Do you think you can be like an idiot and passive aggressive and make snide remarks in Steve Jobs' presence? No. Why? Because they're intolerant of that. They have a higher standard. And so if you remember the first girlfriend or first boyfriend you ever had versus what your standards are today, your standards rise as you grow. As you become better, so too do your expectations, or rather should your expectations become, of others that you surround yourself with.
In this segment, Alex champions the crucial role of honesty in our conversations, especially when it comes to vacation plans and expectations. He encourages us to approach these discussions with transparency, expressing our true desires and limits. This approach goes beyond simply being honest. It's about aligning our actions with our inner values and beliefs. It's a call to be genuine in our interactions, to express what we really want and need, rather than conforming to what we think is expected of us. Why is this perspective essential? Hormozi's advice highlights the importance of establishing clear boundaries based on our personal values. In a world where it's easy to get swept up in the wave of social expectations, especially during the holidays, standing firm in our truth is empowering. It not only promotes self-respect, but also demands respect from others. By being transparent about our plans and expectations, we set a precedent for honest communication, which is the foundation of every healthy relationship. But how do we apply this knowledge in our lives? It all starts with self-awareness, or understanding what we truly value and desire. From there, we need the courage to communicate these truths to others, especially family and friends. It's about being assertive but respectful at the same time, clarifying our position without compromising our values. And most importantly, it's about embracing our uniqueness without succumbing to the pressure of fitting into a preconceived social mold. By embracing and expressing our true selves, especially in the face of social pressures, we pave the way for more authentic connections and a life that truly reflects who we are.
Having these hard conversations gives us the space to be the people that we want to be on the terms that we set, rather than the ones that are thrust upon us by social expectations and cultural norms that were created for people who are not trying to achieve the goals that we are. I'm only sharing this because some of you who are listening to this are actually going to achieve big shit. And it's going to feel really lonely for a lot of that time. And it's because you're going to feel like the odd man out, and you're going to feel like what you're doing is contrary to what everyone else is doing. The people who are back there are going to, call you names behind your back. They're going to say you think you're better than them. They're going to say that you forgot where you came from. And you just develop a thicker skin because you realize that they say those things, and yet you still continue. And yet you keep living, and you keep getting closer to your goals. And then the thing is goal after goal starts falling down, and you get more and more evidence that this path is the path you should be on. And you'll feel more and more confident to the point where in the future, you just have no issue with that. You'll have zero tolerance. Someone texts you, just block them. I don't care. I don't need it. I just don't need it.
In this latest teaching, we delve into Alex Hormozi's profound insights on embracing personal growth. Alex talks openly about loneliness and the obstacles one might encounter on the path to personal growth. He recognizes that the pursuit of success and self-improvement often sets us apart from others, sometimes leading to isolation. But it is precisely in this isolation that true growth occurs. He encourages us to embrace this journey, even when it means walking alone, understanding that the pursuit of our goals and dreams is a deeply personal and sometimes solitary endeavor. Hormozi's advice serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of staying true to our vision and goals. He emphasizes the need to be steadfast in our commitment, not influenced by the fleeting opinions of others. This philosophy particularly resonates in our current social climate, where outside influences and social media often dictate our choices and self-worth. How can we incorporate this into our lives? First, by developing a strong sense of self and clarity about our goals. This involves building resilience to pursue these goals, even in the face of loneliness or opposition. Hormozi also emphasizes the need to cultivate zero tolerance towards negativity and toxic behaviors, which means actively removing or distancing ourselves from influences that hinder our growth, be they situations, habits, or even people.